This is the analytics side of Chatterly. Inside of here, as you can see, we've got the analytics tab, and we've got some couple of sections that we're going to go through together. For now, I'm going to go through the activity section. So I'm going to click out of there just so that way we have more screen real estate here. In the activity section, we've got all of our creators listed inside of here. You can, of course, go through and filter specific creators. So if you only want one creator, if you want to select 10 creators out of 100 creators, however many creators you have, you can filter them through here. And we've got multiple actions for you to do. So some of the actions that we track inside of the activity section are feed posts, mass messages, any random message like individual messages, purchases, when Chatterly last updated fans, when the last mass message was sent, that we've updated on our end, and when the revenue was updated last inside of Chatterly as well too. So as you can see in here, so you could go through and filter whatever you want through there, but inside of here you can see that my different creators have different timestamps for when the last X has happened. So as you can see here, there's last messages, revenue, and you see my timestamps, date and timestamps right here. So April 16th at 11:46 p.m. So that way, if you're going through and you want to make sure that somebody's revenue may be correct, or you want to see when the last time someone sent a chat, or maybe just a mass message on an account without actually logging into the app on OnlyFans or on the browser or whatever it may be, you can just click it on here. So that way you can see it. And we also give you how long ago on the right column, just so that way you can easily identify it. So 6 minutes ago, instead of maybe doing the mental math inside of your head. We've also got another section called creators. Inside of here, you're able to see your home graph, kind of like what you have on the home screen, but this is just going to be your breakdown for whatever creators you select. So I'm just going to select one test account for now, just so we can see this. As you can see here, this creator had a really good first of the month. It's kind of slowed down a little bit, but you'll see the trends from here. It does break down in between total, subs, messages, and tips, as the home screen does as well too. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll have a list of all of your active creators in here and their breakdowns of their total earnings, how many fans they may have that are active and expired, and if they have renew on and off, just so that way you can quickly compare these stats between your creators. You can also go through and look at your messages on here. As you can see here, these are the messages that I've sent as a test on the test account. So inside of here, you can see my name on here as the employee and which creator I sent these on. You can also see the exact text that I have sent. So inside of here, you'll take a look and you'll see that, I've replied to people. You can see what time I sent them at. So as you can see those timestamps on the right side, you can see exactly the date and time that these were sent. If it was a bump, which meaning that you double text someone, maybe that person hasn't replied yet, but you want to send them a second message, that is considered a bump on our end. And you can also see the average reply time. So if you're consistently replying at a fast pace, you'll see that your reply time is lower versus, as you can see up here on the top, my reply time is a little longer because it took me a little longer to reply to that message. And of course, if you've locked the message, you'll be able to see at what price it was locked for. And if it was purchased, you'll be able to see that information here. So it would turn into a check mark if the message got purchased. And if a message ever got unsent, you would be able to see it here as well too, and who unsent it. Being able to see who unsent the message is really huge, just so that way in case somebody is unsending things that shouldn't be unsending stuff, maybe somebody's being sketchy, or maybe it's not a manager who was approved to unsend a certain message, you'll be able to see all that information here. And then of course we have our fan info on the right side where you can click this and determine what type of fan that you're talking to. So in case that you see someone not really sending a lot of unlocks throughout their shift, but they're consistently talking to a fan who's spent $0, you may not grade them as harshly since they're sending it to someone who might not spend a lot of money anyway, so they don't really focus on the unlocks on that end. But you're able to track every single message inside of Chatterly. We made sure of that for you and all of your QAs at your company. We've also got the employee section inside of here. This is basically kind of the same breakdown, but this is going to show statistics at your agency. So as you can see here, I've seen my total earnings that my employees have made, what our unlock ratio is, average reply time, and how many hours that they may have clocked in at any specified time. So as you can see, I have this month set up. Below, you're able to see that you have test accounts, though this is my test accounts, but if you had employees here, you'd be able to see what creators they're on, and you'd be able to see all of their breakdown and their statistics inside of here as well too. So you can see like their revenue numbers, what's the breakdown, such as pay-per-view tips, and you're also able to look at totals, such as like messages sent, how many of those messages were pay-per-views instead, and what's their unlocks and their unlock ratios. You're able to see a lot of stuff here. We made sure to give you as much data as we possibly could, just so that way you're able to see it at a quick glance. You can also go into the employee performance section and click on an account that you want to test. So as you can see here, the shift statistics, if I had someone that clocked in for a shift, you'd be able to see how long they were clocked in for and the revenue that they generated inside of that. So as you can see here, There was 350 messages sent. This is all just temporary data that I put in here just to show as an example. It was a 9-minute clock in, $100 was made, and you'll be able to see my earnings, unlock ratio, and everything that is associated with this chatter as well too. And then you also get to see different graphs from the section we saw in the beginning. So you can really filter through and just take a look at all these individual statistics through a graph instead. And then of course you would also be able to see your messages near the bottom. This is exactly like what we saw earlier. This is just only for that specific employee. So if there are multiple creators, you'd be able to see that here. We've also got the messages section inside of our analytics, which allows you to track and see different pay-per-view statistics. So as you can see here, we can see what the average price is of a pay-per-view on the account. We can see how many sends there are, what the views are, just so that way you're able to determine stuff. So sends would be like fans and following, versus the views would just be how many people are actually opening that. And then the sales depends on, the number of users. So as you can see here, we get around 50 purchases per pay-per-view, which is really good. So you'd be able to see all that information here. You can sort by date and time. You can sort by like media count, highest price, lowest price. Some of the best things that I think to do is to sort it by top purchases, just so that way you're able to determine what has worked and done really well. In doing so, you're able to unsend the message, and you're also able to click and copy it. So that way you can go and resend it inside of our browser. So that way your best-selling pay-per-views, you can send out one more time. Then we also have the all messages feature, which allows you to basically track all messages sent inside of your company. If you had 20 creators on here, you'd be able to see all creators' messages that may be on here. So this would allow you to really have total control of everything that's being sent inside of your company. We've seen this message interface before, so I'm not going to go too deep into it, but just know that inside of this message section, every single message inside of your company that's being sent is going to be located inside of here. And finally, we have our fans section. Inside of here, you're just able to see a fan curve and a graph just to kind of tell you how you're doing for the month. The yellow bar is indicated by brand new fans, and the blue bar is indicated by people who have their renew on. So that way you're able to determine how many renews you get, how many new fans you get, and then of course, we'll give you your total stats up here as well too. So you'll have your total fans, renewal rates, and then your active by expired fans, just so that way you can kind of see how you're doing on that account. And as you can see below, we've also got some information on the creator and the fan information there as well too. So we'll see the spend, tips, total messages, and total posts, and how long they've been here before. So that way you don't actually have to log into the OnlyFans browser or on our message UI to figure out this information. It's all easily accessible here. But that's everything inside of the analytics section of Chatterly.